Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. You know, we all share the exact same 24 hours in a day, right? It's literally the one universal truth of human existence. Yet, somehow, you look around, and some people manage to achieve these just extraordinary things with their time, while others remain completely stuck in the exact same place, year after year. The difference? Well, it isn't always talent, and it's definitely not just luck. It is entirely about how we view and treat the absolutely most precious resource we are ever going to have, our time.
I want you to really think about this for a second. Most of us go through our daily lives as if we have this infinite, bottomless supply of tomorrows. We push things off, we delay, I'll get to it later. But what if that daily habit of putting things off is actually costing you something incredibly valuable without you even realizing it? What if at this very second you are holding a literal fortune in your hands, but you're just carelessly throwing it away?
Section 1, the procrastination trap. This is a dangerous illusion, and we can see it perfectly in the story of a young boy who was blessed with immense potential but was completely paralyzed by the idea that he had infinite tomorrows.
So this young boy, he had everything going for him. Loving parents, teachers who constantly praised how smart he was, a comfortable home, the whole shebang. But his default response to absolutely everything in life was always, I'll do it later. Whether it was his chores, his studying, pursuing a hobby, he always figured he had plenty of time. But as it always does, days turned into months, and months just melted into years. And while his classmates were out there developing real talents and excelling, he just stayed stuck in the exact same spot. It's like he was a tree that simply refused to grow, while this massive, beautiful forest flourished all around him.
Now, this mindset finally caught up with him one day when he failed yet another really important exam. He's sitting there totally frustrated, and his father gently suggests he go visit a wise old sage who lived at the edge of town. So the boy goes, and he just starts venting all his frustrations to the sage, trying to justify himself. He says, "Look, I'm still young. I have my whole life ahead of me. Why should I rush?" And you know what? That is an incredibly common mindset. But as we're about to see, it is a deeply, deeply dangerous one.
Section 2, the fisherman's discovery. To answer the boy, the old sage shifted gears and began to share an old story about a poor fisherman heading to the river before dawn.
The sage described this poor fisherman who lived in a tiny village. Every single day, long before the sun even thought about coming up, he would walk down to the riverbank just to wait for the first light so he could start his work. But on this one particular morning, it was darker than usual. The moon was totally hidden, no stars, pitch black. And as he's walking, his foot bumps into something on the dirt path. He bends down and picks up this heavy, heavy cloth sack. He feels around and, figuring it was just some child's collection of smooth stones, he sits down by the river in the complete darkness. And, well, to pass the slow, dragging time before dawn, he reaches into the sack, pulls out a stone, and just blindly tosses it out into the water.
Plop. The sound just sort of echoed in the total silence of the morning. And it actually brought a little smile to the fisherman's face. There was something oddly satisfying, almost meditative, about that simple, rhythmic sound in the absolute stillness. So naturally, he reached into the sack and threw another.
Plop. Then another. He's just throwing them lazily, completely careless. He's even amusing himself with the different sounds they made hitting the water. The really big ones made this deep, heavy plunk, while the smaller ones made these gentle little plinks. He even caught himself philosophizing a bit, thinking, life is kind of like these stones, heavy when you carry them all together, but when you toss them one by one into the river of time, they barely make a ripple. He had absolutely zero clue what he was actually holding in his hands.
Now, as stone after stone leaves his hand, the sky finally starts to change. The total pitch-black darkness starts giving way to just a razor-thin line of bright orange right on the horizon. The shadows pull back, finally revealing the dark ribbon of the flowing river. And right at that moment, the fisherman reaches into his sack one last time. His rough fingers scrape the bottom. There's only one stone left. He pulls it out. He holds it up for one final throw, just as the morning sun's very first blinding ray of light strikes the object in his hand. The object literally exploded with light, because in his weathered, calloused palm lay not a river stone, but a massive, flawless diamond. "No, no, no," he screamed. The terrible, crushing realization just washed over him. Frantic, he turns the empty cloth sack completely inside out, shaking it, but there was nothing left.
He fell straight to his knees in the mud on the riverbank, just sobbing. In the total darkness of his own ignorance, he had casually, laughingly, thrown away an entire sack of priceless diamonds, wealth that could have fed his family for generations. And now, it was gone forever, swallowed up by the dark river. Section 3. The cost of ignorance. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact problem the young boy from our story was facing. Now, what's really fascinating here is how perfectly the sage mapped this fable directly onto the boy's actual life. Think about it. The sack of stones? That isn't just a sack. That represents your entire lifespan, full of precious, unspent moments. The river isn't just water. It is the constant, unrecoverable flow of time passing us by. And the act of just carelessly throwing those stones into the dark, that is exactly what we do when we waste our moments. We throw them into the river of time where they can never, ever be fished back out. But the absolute, most vital part of this whole metaphor is the darkness. The darkness represents our own lack of awareness. It's this wild delusion we all carry that life is infinite. Just like the poor fisherman, we operate in the dark, just tossing away our present moments because we falsely believe we have a limitless supply of tomorrows waiting for us. And the tragedy is, by the time the light of understanding finally dawns for most people, they've already wasted most of their treasure. The sage looked the boy dead in the eyes and made it incredibly direct. He said, "Every single time you say, 'I'll do it tomorrow,' or 'I'm still young, what's the rush?' you are doing the exact same thing as that fisherman. You are taking a priceless diamond, today's amazing opportunity, this year's potential treasure, and you are thoughtlessly chucking it straight into the river." Section 4. Your remaining diamonds. This is where we shift the focus. Because this story isn't just about feeling regret. It is entirely about awakening to the right now. As the boy's eyes widened and the reality finally clicked for him, the sage offered him a profound sense of hope. He said, "Look, the sun is just beginning to rise in your life." Yes, sure, the boy had thrown away a few years of his life already, but his dawn hadn't completely passed him by. Unlike the fisherman who only had one single diamond left by the time the sun came up, this young boy still had a massive sack full of years. He had decades of uncut gems just waiting to be valued. And that single, powerful realization sparked a monumental shift in him. He completely stopped being the school's biggest procrastinator. From that day on, when he was given a task, he did it immediately. He finished his work the very same day. When a new opportunity popped up, he didn't wait. He grabbed it with both hands. And within just a single year, he didn't just catch up to his peers, he completely surpassed them, eventually growing into a highly successful, deeply respected man. And here is the kicker. He did all of that within the exact same boundary that you and I share right now. The number 24. 24 hours. The sage's lesson proves that massive success in life isn't about somehow magically acquiring more time than the next guy. It is simply about recognizing the immense, irreplaceable value of the time you already hold in your hands. You cannot control time, but you are entirely in control of how you use it. So, the crucial takeaway here is actually pretty simple. The only real difference between the people who go out and achieve their wildest dreams and the people who stay hopelessly stuck in neutral isn't luck, it's not innate talent, it is simply a choice. Do you treat your present moments like worthless stones to be casually tossed away into the river, or do you treat them like the priceless diamonds they truly are? We all have a sack full of diamonds right now, but that river of time, it is flowing fast. Don't wait for the light of understanding to finally hit you when your sack is almost empty. Stop waiting for a magical tomorrow that literally doesn't exist and start living mindfully right now, in the present. So I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you today. What diamond are you ready to stop throwing away today?